When you first bring in a new supercharger vehicle into the game, we have this showcase moment where it shows off the different parts of the vehicle, the engine, the wheels, the weapon in this case. Now I'm going to add on one of our supercharger Skylanders. This is Stormblade.
Feather the storm. You have to reach the storm port to get rid of these clouds, Skylander. Hurry!
You're gonna want to be careful moving through that fog. It's the perfect place for bad guys to ambush you.
So we're going to start off with just our traditional on-foot gameplay. Much of the game is that tried and true Skylanders gameplay. The Skylanders character traveling through on-foot combat, puzzle-based gameplay. And what you see with this level, we've actually brought the clouds into the environment. So you're now walking through these clouds, these volumetric clouds, and as you walk through them, they sort of dissipate away from you. Now it's the overarching goal of the level to clear those clouds, but as you saw when you cleared them, we could see these trolls up ahead. And we use this mechanic throughout the level as part of the gameplay hook. So removing clouds to see how to traverse through a maze, or removing clouds to see how to solve a puzzle. And every one of our levels in the game has a core central gameplay hook. So whether it's the clouds in this level or another level where we have a shrink ray that can grow and shrink enemies and objects in the environment, or flying on the back of a giant dragon that as it sways left and right, everything in the level moves and falls left to right. So each of our levels have this gameplay hook that a lot of the gameplay is focused around. In fact, those guys we just defeated were eating the clouds and getting stronger with every cloud that this fountain shot out that they were able to gulp down. All right, we're going to skip ahead a little bit so we can move through some of the on-foot gameplay and get more quickly to our vehicle gameplay. Some laser puzzles. We've seen these in prior Skylanders game, but we've added a new element. They're on these rotating platforms that we have to line up, particularly with these lions' heads to activate either a gate or a bridge. And then we bring those clouds in and obscure some of the elements. You have to explore through, figure out where the lasers are, where the crystals are, and how to solve this puzzle by navigating through the clouds.
That's the way we do it, Skylander. Boom.
Alright, so we're coming up on our first vehicle section in this level. This is a land-based section, so we'll jump into Hot Streak and speed off down the track.
Storm. Here comes the storm.
And then if you didn't have a vehicle, is it just kind of like the other, like if you didn't have a giant in past games, you couldn't go into a specific area if you didn't have a certain element?
Right, so whenever you come to a vehicle-based section, you will be prompted, if it's a land vehicle, you need to put a land vehicle on the portal. If you need a sea vehicle or a sky vehicle, you'll be prompted with a little token icon there to tell you which type of vehicle you need. Now, importantly, the starter pack comes with this land vehicle and 2 Skylander characters, and you can complete the story mode in the game just with those toys. The critical path is all on foot with land-based vehicles. So here we've got this racing type, high-speed, high-octane driving. We've got drift. We've got, here's a mod chest that we found along an alternate path. So we found this mod, which is actually associated with Hot Streak. So this is the volcanic vents, and you find these mods randomly dropped throughout the world of Skylanders. And you can actually pause the game at any moment and customize out your vehicle. So we found this volcanic vents, replaced the engine with the volcanic vents. We also have mods on Hot Streak for the wheels, and every time you customize your vehicle with one of these different mods, it's changing the stats of the vehicle, making it go faster, or changing the handling, maybe making it stronger, more powerful, but also looking different and really cool. So you can customize and trick out your vehicle to look and play the way you want it to. So after this fast-paced linear section, we're now dropped into a wider open arena for more exploration. But I'm going to switch Stormblade, and I'm going to replace her with Spitfire. Now the important thing about Spitfire is actually naturally paired with Hotstreak. You can see they sort of visually look like they go together. They're both fire elemental characters, and if I have both of them in the portal at the same time, they're supercharged.
Supercharged.
So does every new supercharger have a vehicle to go along with them?
Right. We've got 20 new supercharger characters, and we have 20 new vehicles, and they're each paired. Each one has their special paired vehicle. So now, in the supercharged mode, this flamethrower weapon deals more damage. The secondary attack, which is a fast-paced dash, if you run into things, deals more damage. And we've also unlocked a custom set of mods just for supercharged vehicles, which are more dramatic and deal that extra damage and power with the
That's a
vehicle.
harmonic lock. You need to ring each of the bells to open it.
So our vehicle gameplay is not just combat, we also have puzzles and exploration. Here, we have to figure out how to open this gate by finding and ringing these 4 doorbells. So we got these half pipes, these ramps, these different boost pads and areas to explore in this arena. Find those 4 bells and ring them to open the gate. Just
Missed it much.
Yeah.
Missed much. Gotta have driving skills.
And now you mentioned drifting before, like how is that done controlled?
Yeah, so
control-wise?
if you want to hang out in here and show off drifting a little bit though, so the left trigger is a drift mechanic. So both in straightaways and in this arena-based gameplay, if you do the left trigger, well, the right trigger is gas, and the left trigger is drift. And if you do a drift successfully, you'll actually boost out of it and get a little extra speed.
See you at the finish line.
Okay, so on the right here,
You
actually I'll wait for this to...
belong up here in the sky. Be quiet. You know what I mean.
So Lord Stratosphere sees you coming. He's activated the storm generator further down the level. So right here on the right is an upgrade platform. We have these in all the levels as well as in the hub. You can trade in those gear bits, which I actually don't think I mentioned. The gear bits that you're collecting in vehicle sections. Trade those in to upgrade your weapons and your shields to have more powerful vehicles. The gear bits are pretty cool. We place them in such a way that you're trying to find the right line. They're sort of a mini game in the vehicle sections where if you collect them within a certain time period, their value goes up. So you find that perfect line, you collect them in a particular order and speed, you'll gain more and more gear bits for upgrading your vehicle. Alright, so Spitfire has some pretty cool powers. He's got this fire tornado. He has a blue fire dash. He can really dispatch these trolls pretty quickly.
Wow.
He's also supercharged right now, so he has additional damage and additional health because he's paired with his vehicle. Now, all of our Skylanders levels have these little hidden secrets and treasures and areas to find. Over here on the left in the clouds is our new lockpick minigame, the live wire lock. But what's really cool about our C gameplay is that you can actually play below the water as well. So for this, we have various hazards on the surface that you have to dip down below the water to avoid, like these guys here. And then there you find secret paths. Off to the left here, through underneath this building is this alternate path with some super high-value gear bits to pick up, as well as another mod chest that we can find here. So this is Mr. Squeaks. Mr. Squeaks may be the best mod in the game. He's an inflatable pool toy, but he also adds to your top speed stat. So we'll equip him, and his speed, because we equipped him in the air, we're going to gain a lot of speed.
Oh, we kind of hate the squeaks when you throw.
So we should talk a little bit about the variety of vehicles. So we have a race car here, we've got a submarine, we've got a jet plane. But the way we approach the design of all of our vehicles, all 20 vehicles in the game, is really thinking about the different vehicle fantasies that one can have, the kids can have, what different vehicles are really going to make people excited about the variety of experience. So we've got race cars and motorcycles and dragsters and monster trucks and construction vehicles. We've got submarines and speedboats and hovercrafts. We've got jet planes and helicopters. So the whole gamut of different vehicle experiences through the game. And what that means is the gameplay in our levels is varied as well. So we've got these, fast-paced linear sections. Here we're jumping into an open arena section with a boss battle. But in some of our sea levels, you actually dive way down below the surface of the Skylands, exploring the deep underwater areas that we've never been to in the Skylands before. So this is the storm generator. We've got to shoot it. We've got a torpedo attack, which does our primary damage. And now he sent out some boats that actually have the same ability that we have to dive beneath the surface. So our secondary attack comes in really useful here. It's a sonar ping that we shoot out from the sub, and it paints any enemies so that our torpedoes will actually auto-target them. Now when you dive and you release, you can jump up above the water, so we can use that to avoid these storm generator wings that are swinging around and creating these giant waves. And you can actually use that strategically. If you get to the crest of a wave, you won't get hit by the arms there, or if you're at the trough of a wave, you can dive down beneath it and avoid those hazards. So now these heavy boats have come in. We have to use a little bit of strategy here by using the storm generator against itself. If we dive underneath these boats, we can get the storm generator to target us while we're underneath the boat and destroy the boat while he's targeting us. Additionally, with our sea and sky sections in the game, they have side quests and missions in them. So here we have to destroy the storm generator, and it's actually going to impact the gameplay in the rest of the level. So here, if we successfully destroy the generator by doing the sea section, it's going to actually turn off all of the electrical hazards in the rest of the level. So we no longer have to have as much of a challenge in avoiding all those electric hazards in the platforming gameplay later in the level. Yeah.
Excellent. It should be safer for all to travel through the Cloud Kingdom now, thanks to you.
All right, we're going to use another teleporter so that we can show you the flying gameplay.
Silent but deadly.
So then, well, there's 20 superchargers, 20 vehicles. How many of ones like this one, the kind of new versions of old ones?
Right. So they're part of the 20. There are 8
Okay.
returning fan favorites, but they're a little bit different than what we've done in the past because they're actually totally new versions of these characters. So this is Stealth Elf. She's been supercharged. She's a supercharger now. She's got a totally new weapon set. Her upgrade path is completely new powers. Stronger, beefier. She's really, really powerful. She's got this awesome railgun. So they're reimagined versions of fan favorites, and 8 of the 20 are reimagined versions.
Vicarious is transporting his oozy troubles. You must stop him. Please stop Vicarious' transport ships before we're overrun with disgusting trolls.
It's a high-class problem.
The Skylands has all types of characters. All right, so I'm going to switch out Dive Bomber and put on one of our sky vehicles, the Sky Slicer.
Sky Green Thrust, Qatar Wing, Feather Fury.
Alright, so in this section we have to catch up with these transport ships and destroy them before they deliver their goods.
Take down those transport ships and knock Lord Stratosphere down a peg.
So Sky Sicer is actually paired with a Stormblade right there, and so the weapons on this flying vehicle are inspired by Stormblade. It's got this quick, fast, piercing missiles that deal rapid damage. And then if you have a lot of enemies there, the secondary weapon are homing missiles that the longer you hold down the secondary weapon button, the more targets are targeted, and you can do a lot of damage all in one shot. Now, we also have wide open dogfighting arenas for flying where you're zipping in and out of enemies as they fly around you with full 360 control. And I should talk a little bit about co-op. So for co-op gameplay, we have the traditional on-foot co-op gameplay with 2 characters. And in vehicle mode, we use one vehicle with 2 characters. So you have a driver and a gunner.
Sounds like Mario Kart Double Dash.
Similar gameplay, and you can switch back and forth between the 2 players to change who's driving and who's gunning. So similar gameplay.
Okay. Only one transport ship left, Skylander.
You totally did it!
You were asking about the controls, and the flying controls, that left trigger button is a barrel roll, so you can use that to evade maneuvers, or if guys have actually come up behind you and are targeted, locking onto you from behind, you can use it to evade them. And then in the C gameplay, that left trigger is the dive button.
Were there any kind of like inspirations from other games for the vehicle sections?
We definitely did our research and exhaustively reviewed a lot of games out there because we have so many different types of gameplay. So, we have that fast-paced, sort of almost racing kind of type gameplay. We've got the arena combat. We have the underwater gameplay. So the games that everybody knows and plays, Wave Runner and Star Fox and all of these games that are part of what we looked at for sort of the best practices, but with so many different types of vehicle gameplay, there wasn't any one particular game that we looked at and we were like, that's it. So there's really 7, 8, 9 different types of vehicle gameplay in this with all the different vehicles, so a lot of different ways to play.
Awesome.
Yeah. We've always customized the gameplay for the Wii U and put extra content on the gamepad. You have different screens. You can either have the mirrored mode, or we can see your quest tracks and all the quests you have in the game. But visually, gameplay-wise, it's really our approach is to try to make it as equal as possible to all the other platforms.